Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And we're back with another episode of Hot Goss and Unpopular Sauce. I don't know why I felt like the need to sing that this morning. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the confidence booster. We're excited to be back with you guys this fun day, Monday morning. Well, I guess that's assuming you're listening to it the day it comes out. Whatever day you're listening to it, and whatever time of the day, we're happy to be with you guys.
Listening. Greetings. Hello.
Greetings. If you haven't already, go ahead and listen to our indie book club episode that we released last Wednesday. It's A Cursed Kiss by Jenny Hickman. It was very fun. We got to interview her. We talked a little bit about a short summary of the book. It was a very fun conversation. We learned a lot about her life in Ireland and her inspiration behind the book.
Immediately after hanging up that call, I was like, she's from Ireland!
We didn't know that she was in Ireland when we started talking to her. We learned literally in the middle of the recording that that's where she was at, and it was, we both were like, are you kidding me?
To that.
And then this week, Wednesday, we have our next episode coming out talking about Elegy of Twilight by Angela Ford, which is also very fun, and we had a great time talking with her as well. She is the definition of a prodigy, and we learn a little bit more about that in our interview, so feel free to take a listen to that. But today is all about Hot Goss, and Ellie has done all the prep work for today. I have no idea. She gave me like a very high level concept of what it's about, but I have no idea what it is, like details.
It's a high level overview, everyone. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, but we're not going to reinvent the wheel, you know?
TLDR, this is what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking about. Okay, so let's start off with, if you have not read all 15 books by Sarah J. Maas, this is unfortunately not the episode for you. Please join us on Wednesday, like Melissa said, but we have a ton of spoilers all over the Massiverse. So if you have read all of the books, continue listening, because this gets real juicy. So today, this is one of those Michael Scott - Wayne Gretzky credit situations, you know, where he's like, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take, - Michael Scott - Wayne Gretzky. So this theory was sent in to us from Postcards by Us, like Australia, but the theory was written by Emily's Theories on Tumblr. So - Postcards by Us - Emily's Theories. So once again, with this theory, and everyone bear with me, we need to subscribe to the idea that the three worlds are happening on a different timeline. Shout out to all the haters, because this is not a well-received idea. And
no, it is not.
Look, I'm just going with what the theory says. I'm just along for the ride, and you should be too.
I really thought you were going to say, I'm just a girl. I feel like that's our catchphrase. I am just a
girl. I know. I'd also like to point out that, and this is where my little Spitfire hot take comes in, the only book evidence, not interview evidence, because once again, nobody has been able to point out the interview that SJM's like, oh, it's all one timeline. The only book evidence we get is when Aelin is falling through all of the worlds. And we have there's nothing that suggests that she didn't also fall through time. In fact, Sarah points to so many places that there is time jumping. And I can get into all that another day, but I will not right now. And I can also get into it in the comments if need be. Okay.
Ellie is feeling a certain type of way today, everyone.
I worked out this morning. I did legs. I'm pumped up. Okay, so here we go. Have you ever wondered why the Crescent City Map is only of Lunathion? Lunathion, the way Melissa says it.
Yes, thank you.
Even though...
No. Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I was going to say no, because that's what the book is about.
Yeah. But the other books are just about Prythian, but we get a little bit more of their map, and the other books, Throne of Glass is kind of the whole world. So I was going to say, even though other continents are mentioned, such in Crescent City, such as Pangaea, the other books, while not giving you the whole world necessarily, gives you way more than just one city. So
that's true.
I present to you the theory that is the throne of glass world no longer exists.
Dun, dun, dun.
In fact, it was destroyed by the Asteri to create Midgard. And the reason we don't get the full map is because Midgard is actually the throne of glass world.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Initial take?
I'm not convinced to start.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see how this journey goes.
Okay, so let's get into it. In Crescent City, Therion describes what existed before the Asteri's reign. He says, ancient humans and their gods dwelled here. Could this describe the throne of glass world, since ancient humans and their gods dwelled there? Is it merely coincidence that Midgard, as we've spoken about before in our last Hot Goss episode, is it merely coincidence that Midgard is the Norse name for Earth and that Terrasen means Old Earth? So let's talk about Parthos. There is an ancient place on Midgard that was destroyed during the First Wars. This city was called Parthos. In the dream world that Apollyon takes Bryce to, they are in a setting where the great library of Parthos used to be. Bryce notes that what remains of Parthos is a, quote, dusty plain. She stood on a vast, dusty plain before an azure, cloudless sky. Remember when, like a couple weeks ago, or maybe we were even texting, you said you wanted the bone carver to play a role again in the story?
I sure did.
Well, here he comes.
Oh.
In the Akatar world, the bone carver talked about the world where he and his siblings came from. However, he said, I do not believe it is now anything more than dust drifting across a plain. And he's talking about his old home. As he's talking about his old home, he draws 3 interlocking circles on the ground. That is the exact symbol of Bryce's Archesian necklace, which is also the symbol of Parthos. Now, are you going to ask me, well, how do we know the necklace is the symbol of Parthos? Because I have an answer for you.
I wasn't going to, but please tell me.
So we know that the necklace is from Parthos because Micah says to Bryce, says the female with the Archesian amulet around her neck, the amulet of the priestesses who once served and guarded Parthos. Coincidence? I think not. So.
Well, also not now that we know Jessica's past, too, since we know that she was a priestess who guarded the books in Parthos.
Yes. So I may have convinced you that the bone carver was from Parthos, but how does that connect Parthos to the throne of glass world? Do you remember there being an absent god like, or an absent god-like being in Throne of Glass? The Sin Eater?
I don't.
Maybe not. He was so briefly mentioned, but he was described as a character. Yeah.
I think it's coming back to me. Keep going.
He had the temple where they found Damaris's sword and realized that Erewhon wasn't really dead. Okay. So the Sin Eater is described as a character who carved bones and was known as the god of truth. His temple, I know I got chills. His temple is located deep beneath the shadow market of Rifthold and is built nearly entirely of human bones. The bones are carved with the confessions of people's sins they committed in life.
Shut up.
Just seeing your face in the corner of my screen. Yes.
That you just described the bone carver.
I did. It blew my mind too. I was like, that's a connection. That's exactly who he is. This is him.
That's not a connection.
He's the Sin Eater.
That is a reference.
That's what I'm saying. You get me.
I do.
So,
wow.
Again,
big fan.
That's where they found out that Erewhon hadn't been killed, only trapped, and Mars, the Sword of Truth, is blessed by the God of Truth, was found there too. And then lastly, something cute. Rowan and Aelin said, I love you. Rowan said to Aelin, I love you. There is no limit to what I can give you, no time I need. Even when this world is a forgotten whisper of dust between the stars, I will love you. So there's a heavy dust theme going on here, which is where Emily's theories is picking up. I think that these worlds are connected. So then let's go to the Asteri archives. I know what a lot of you may be thinking and shouting at me through your car speakers. Did you read House of Flames? The Asteri brought Fae from the Throne of Glass world to inhabit it, or at least that's what we all assumed when we read that the Fae came through those rifts and took up Midgard. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I did assume that as well, so tell me why I'm wrong.
But wait. So that's in my notes. I'm not telling you. Yeah, okay. But wait. In the Asteri archives, Bryce found notes on how Midgard came to be. These notes stated, the indigenous life was not sustainable for the Asteri. Now, we know that that probably references the humans, as the Valg and Throne of Glass also had the same issue with the humans. They couldn't possess them for too long. They were too weak, whatever.
Yeah.
But Bryce also sees on the exact same page a sketch of both a wolf shifter and a mare, like a mermaid. Emily's theories says that these were the two species confirmed to be the Throne of Glass Fae, but personally, I don't actually remember there being any mermaids. Do you remember?
I don't remember there being anything water related outside of Lysandra being a sea dragon.
That's what I thought. Oh, wait. Not mermaids, but didn't they have some shifty water fae? I don't know. Okay, so she says there was. I have not referenced myself in the book that there was. That did not stick out to me as something I remembered. Maybe it will stick out to you. Comment if you remember that.
Yeah.
So moving forward, however, those drawings are a depiction enough to believe that the world had fae on it prior to all the other fae coming in from the rifts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was so far that's been like my biggest. I haven't said it. I was gonna wait until the end because I wanted to hear like all of the theory, but that was the biggest thing for me. It's like, however, like Midgard prior to the Asteri bringing people from other worlds and or time, if you will, which there there I was under the impression that it was or they made it seem like it was only humans there, and while in Throne of Glass a majority of the people are just regular humans, there are still quite a bit of magic wielding individuals, and like Wendlin or Dornell is exclusively fae, and like so I'm like, how does that was the biggest thing that like it didn't make any sense to me. I'm still and the explanation about there being drawings of a wolf shifter and a mare on that page isn't enough to convince me of that, simply because like you said, like I have zero, like I think I would have remembered if there was any kind of like water. I mean, my memory is terrible. So I am the first to admit that if that is written about, I'm not terribly surprised that I don't remember, but I do think I would have remembered that because I love the idea of mermaids. So I would have been really excited about it. I don't even know if
it was mermaids so much as it was like water shifting creature. I don't know. But yeah, I am with you. I did not think that I agreed with this to the point where I almost scrapped the whole theory and was like, forget it. This is so far-fetched. We're going to get eaten alive. I don't agree with it because of the people coming through the portals. But this one page was enough for me to be like, okay, that could back it up. So we'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we are just stating the theory. This isn't our theory. We're just talking about what we've seen online.
Yeah. Okay. So here's, to me, the best part of this theory. Emily of Emily's theories writes that if Midgard is built on the ruins of the Throne of Glass world. Can I start that over? My goodness. Okay. Emily of Emily's theories writes that if Midgard is built on the ruins of the Throne of Glass world, then she thinks Lunathion is right where the southern continent was. Specifically, Antica, the Tower of Dawn setting. Point and case, in Tower of Dawn, Antica is described as a city surrounded by a wall lined with, quote, olive groves and wheat farms bordering the city. Lunathion is described with sandstone walls, arid climate, and olive groves and little farms that line distant hills beyond the city borders to the north.
Shut up. You're so right. And isn't in correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it in one of said vineyards where Ethan and Hypaxia do the weird necromancing thing?
I do believe that is the case, yeah.
The Underking shows up and tries to kill him?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were like stuck there trying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I pictured both of them looking like Greece.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just me.
Totally.
Okay, sorry. That was.
I'm sure that was part of her inspiration too. Okay. They both share the same climate as well, the arid climate, and the same geographical feature of being surrounded by deserts. This places the Great Lost Library of Parthos and the Old Terrasen as one place.
Shut up.
I know.
You're so right.
What's more, Hypaxia's tutor was originally an inhabitant of Parthos. Hypaxia states that the tutor specifically trained her in healing magic, and the way that she used her magic to remove the crystallos venom from Bryce was near identical to the way Irene healed Kaol from the Valg parasite.
Shut up. You're so right.
Little connection.
Oh my goodness.
There's something there.
There's more than something there. This is too. And also, can we just, for the record, I don't know if you're about to say this or if it's mentioned in there at all, but if it really is the southern continent, it would even make more sense on why there would be less fae or shifters there, because outside of the healers, I don't remember there being any magic. Well, I mean, I guess kind of in the hills and stuff, there's the Karen Quee spiders and stuff were there and whatever. But I mean, like, for the most part, everything that happened during Tower of Dawn was centered around Irene and her healing. It wasn't any other kind of fae or magic. They talk about fae having been there in the past. Yeah. But, like, they, as far as we know, and as what was stated, weren't currently there either. So all that, I'm really long-winded, I'm like thinking out loud way to say it would make sense that there were, like, it would mostly be humans anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. The connections are connecting.
I'm cooked. This is incredible.
Yeah. That's incredible. Okay, so I have one last point. Let's talk about all of the name connections we saw between Throne of Glass and Midgard.
Let's do it.
The Stag King of Avalon. That's too coincidental. Bringing in any kind of stag at all.
Honestly.
Number 2, Rune, who we love, and the Rune Mountains in Tower of Dawn. We talked about why is he named that? Why is there a similar name? Could be because Sarah's pointing out this is the same place.
I mean, like, and it's not like she named 2 characters Amy. Like, Rune, that is, like, so specific, and she's too intentional for it to be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that I named the mountain range that in my Throne of Glass series. Like, there's no way.
Right.
I will say, in Throne of Glass, the mountain range has an extra N. In Crescent City, she spells it RUHN, and then it's 2 N's in Throne of Glass, but doesn't feel like enough of a difference.
So, Mora from Crescent City sounding like Morath, and Corinth from Crescent City sounding like Orinth, which is also worshipping the same 3-faced goddess from both worlds / both books / both one place. And lastly, word marks being found literally everywhere, all over Crescent City and all over Throne of Glass, but really not too much in ACOTAR.
That's so true. I think outside of, like, maybe some assumptions and they're all tied to Amryn, like, there aren't really any that I can remember, like, mentions of word marks. However, I also read ACOTAR before I read Throne of Glass, so I wasn't looking for anything like that. I think if I were to go back and reread all of them now, potentially I might notice, like, 1 or 2 more, but even still, like, I don't think it was as big of a no, like, it definitely was pointed out or referenced, I feel like, more in Crescent City. And
I wasn't gonna mention this, but I will because we have so much time still. There's also another book that remains mysteriously unpublished. So says Emily. I've actually never heard of this before. This would be the first I'm hearing of this. Maybe it's widely known to other SJM fans, but it's called The World of Throne of Glass. And it's essentially, according to SJM, an encyclopedia that documents the full history of the Throne of Glass world. And it's supposed to come off of, like, the perspective of a librarian. And Sarah said that it's like a book that it will feel like you could pull it off the shelves of an ancient library, and it's going to just depict everything from the history of Throne of Glass from beginning to end. And so Emily says it's almost as if the world of Throne of Glass is a Parthos book in itself, and is that way it remains unreleased because we don't have the reveals yet to connect these two worlds together.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I haven't been this shook in a Hot Goss episode in a hot second, and I was not prepared to feel this way today. So, but I'm like, it's so fun. I feel invigorated and alive thinking about this.
I know. And what's unfortunate is so many people are so like certain that all of these timelines are happening at the same time, and so there's no way that they could cross. But Emily's theories goes, I didn't write it all down, but she goes so deep into why Sarah hints at different timelines. And there's so many quotes in here we've talked about the heart before, of how it says we shall move through space and eons together.
Yeah.
But there's just so much more. Also, let's talk about this too. Someone actually commented this. This isn't from Emily's theories.
I think you're going to say what I was about to bring up, and is it about Lydia?
Yes. Bring it up.
Well, okay, yeah, I was going to say this too, because it is very, 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 very heavily implied in House of Flame and Shadow that Lydia is through time is somehow a descendant of Brannon Galathinius, which is why she named one of her sons Bran.
Yes.
And so, I mean, if that's the case,
she's got fire in her blood,
yeah,
or her veins. We know that she's a descendant from the line that Aelin comes from, if not Aelin and Rowan's direct descendant. And so if that was the case, there would have to be different timelines, because how would she have descended from them? And I know Aelin and Rowan maybe not, but maybe just like the Galathinius line. But then, like, why wasn't she brought up at all? She has the same power.
It has to be Aelin, because Aelin was her dad's only kid. So
yes, you're right.
If she is a descendant of Brannon,
brother out there, this has to be Aelin and Rowan's kid, or a descendant, of their children, which means they are the past, and Crescent City is the future.
Well, yes, I will say one. Because I saw the comment, and at first I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. I'm like, no, I need no further proof. But then I thought about it, and the Asteri when they brought the Fae into Midgard, that was quite a bit of time before Lydia would have ever even been born.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible, that they are the past in the sense of like a generation or two before, but not necessarily like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years like I think they realistically probably are. Or like what would make more sense with this timeline theory. But like at the end of the day, regardless, it certainly then proves that in some capacity these three are not happening all at the exact same time, because Lydia's a full-grown adult, and at the closest connection, Aelin and Rowan are her parents. Like that is the closest it could be timeline-wise, and even then, again, that would show that. Yeah. And that's not. There's no way that that's possible, because Aelin and Rowan, unless she was taken from them as a baby through a rift, but that couldn't have been, because the Asteri brought all the Fae well before she existed.
Right.
So.
Right.
I'm like word vomiting as I'm thinking.
I'm going to close the loop on the time thing, and maybe hopefully open people's minds up to the idea that it could be different timelines, because like I said, SJM references jumping through time a lot, and I have a couple other sources that I may cite from. So when we talk about the Asteri, they offered a hand through space and time when they were luring people into Midgard.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to forget that sentence, space and time.
Yeah.
So, and it says, like fish to bait, they came and they opened the gates to us. Easily, they could have pulled people from the past. They could have pulled people from the future, whatever. But that just means that hopping time is not out of the question for these books. And then when they talk about Bryce landing in Prithian in front of Asriel, she says she lands in Prithian. She starts to wonder if she had traveled in time or if this new world occupies a different time period.
Yeah.
So, because the quote is, Bryce rubbed at her face. Had she traveled in time somehow? Or did hell occupy a different time? So, I think that it is not out of the question for Sarah to write different timelines.
Yeah. I can't remember this exactly, and maybe I'm making it up. And if you don't remember, that's fine too. Someone else leave a comment for us. But did they even, like, because doesn't one of the, like, in her first conversation, or one of the first conversations Bryce has with Nesta, isn't that the time concept of time even kind of brought up a little bit? And, like, isn't it maybe alluded to that time works differently in some of the worlds? Or am I absolutely making that up?
Can't say, don't know, don't remember.
Excellent. All right, we're just going to put a pin in that. If you guys do remember, feel free to say that doesn't happen, Melissa, you are delusional. Or be like, yeah, I think it did happen. This is how it went. But, I mean, either way, let's just be nice, because I am just a girl. But, oh man, this is fun. Dang it, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about when you mentioned a Valen earlier. I think it was when we were talking about names. But I can't remember now what it was.
I brought up that the Stag King was an Avalon.
You did bring that up. But alas, that is not jogging any bells.
You win some, you lose some.
I know.
We'll make a whole other episode if Melissa remembers.
We will not, probably, because I don't think it was that big a deal.
This is what it was.
You guys, follow up. Here's what it was. Goodbye.
Yeah. Anyways, that is what I have for you today. It's a shorter one, so sorry, but a juicy one.
You know what?
Full of theory.
It might have been shorter, but I feel like my mind was blown more than it has been in a while, so kudos.
Good.
Thank you, Emily's Theories.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you. Wait, who, can you shout them out again?
Postcards by Us, and thank you
Postcards
to Emily's
by
Theories.
Us for pointing out Emily's Theories on Tumblr. That was
a wild
journey, man. Wow. Okay, so now that I said I wasn't convinced in the beginning, and now that we're done, I'm convinced.
Oh, that's, I think, a first.
Yeah. No, it's not.
You did it.
You've convinced me of things before.
Huh.
It's not easy to. It's not easy, but you've convinced me before.
Okay.
There are too many. I can't get over it. There's too many similarities for it to not be intentional. Like, and if it comes out that it's a coincidence, I think I don't know. I might even be a little disappointed just because of how I don't want to keep using the word intentional. I just am not an author, so I can't think of a synonym for it. But, like, she just is so purposeful with everything that she does in her writing.
Deliberate, calculated.
Thank you. She's so calculated.
Purpose.
She's so deliberate.
Willful.
She's so willful.
And finally, wanton.
She's so wanton in all of her books. So I just would, for it to, like, come out that it's all these names are, like, so similar in how they're pronounced, and all the descriptions are eerily similar, but they're completely different places, and it doesn't matter or whatever, I think I will be disappointed a little bit. Depending on how she spins it. I'll throw up. Depending on how she spins it and how, like, what ends up actually, like, happening, it will be a swing and a miss, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Silvo, until the next book, here we are, wondering and wanting for more.
All right. Wanting. How many it has not been released when the next book is coming out yet, has it?
No.
I tried to look.
Don't you think we'd be all over that? Oh, guys, let's talk about what will be released. This is not SJM news. This is Suzanne Collins news.
Oh,
and
yes.
boy, oh boy,
hey,
we've had a
Mitch.
big
hey,
week.
Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
Guys,
hey,
I
Mitch.
walked out of the theater after Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I read the book after I watched the movie. Sue me. But I walked out of that theater and I looked Grant in the actual eyeballs, in his retinas, in his corneas, and I said to him, that was great, but when are we going to get Hey Mitch's story? That man took out 48 other victors. 47, actually. So that's a story to be told. And here we are. The book comes out March 25th, 2025, baby. I will be in line for that. Is it 2025 or
2026?
Uh-oh, I thought it was 25. I'll be depressed.
Please hold. I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. I'm looking it up. New Hunger Games book. It is 2025. You are so right. March 18th, 2025. Excellent. Excellent. Less than a year, guys, everyone.
Immediate
the countdown begins.
Book club review. No matter what we're reading, I'm just calling it now. We're going to pause. We have to do that one. We have to do that one.
You know what? We need to plan it so that, honestly, someone actually even commented, I think, on our Instagram recently.
Yeah, saying we should do the Hunger Games.
Should do Hunger Games. We should try and time it. Like, try and figure out the dates so that we just do the Hunger Games and then end with the new one.
Good like, Lord, right when it comes out. Hunger Games again. We might not do the summaries because I feel like everyone at that point would be like, yeah, we know. We'll just give our hot takes. AKA, maybe. From the get-go, when I was in 8th grade, I remembered sitting in my friend Taylor's room, looking her in the eyes, again, in her corneas, in her retinas, and being like, Katniss should be with Peeta. And she was like, absolutely not! She's gonna pick it up! And guess who was right? Again.
I will say, I didn't read the books before watching the movies, and I was absolutely team Gale initially, but only because it was Liam Hemsworth versus Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah, yes, of course.
So in reality, I wasn't team Gale, I was team Liam.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you like to share the following news with
Go ahead.
That? No, you.
About how he's the Witcher? Ugh.
No, not really. I was going to talk about the movie.
What movie?
Okay, I'll do it. Then, following the book in March 2025, November, either 2025 or 2026, we are getting the movie!
Thank you. I even posted about that. How did I forget? Okay, that's what comes out in 2026. That's where I was thinking.
There we go.
That's why I was thinking of that year. Okay, everyone. After the book, we get the movie. I know.
Do you know if Lionsgate is putting it out again?
Ellie.
Sorry,
I know.
Yes?
I didn't even remember that the movie was coming out. Do you think I remember the production company?
I guess not.
I have absolutely no idea.
I hope it is. I really like their work. All right.
I didn't know Lionsgate did the first ones.
Yes, they did.
So now I know. The more you know.
The more you know. And that, everyone, is our episode. Have a great week. Like, subscribe, comment, and leave a review. See you guys next week.
See you next week,
Wednesday. Bye.
See you on Wednesday for our Elegy of Twilight episode with Angela Ford. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.
Bye. Bye.